All right, welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Power of One podcast. I'm so happy that y'all here. We have a very special episode. We're doing a live episode again today. So episode of the Power of One podcast. Yeah, I'm so happy that y'all here. We have a very special episode off right there. All right. So I'm glad that y'all can make it. And those of you that are watching us live, I'm glad that y'all are here, and you guys that are listening to this at some point in time now in history or after we do this, welcome to the show too. Today, we have a very, very special show lined up. Today's interview is with a very, very special brother, a leader of leaders. I'm very excited about it. But before we get into that, today's episode is sponsored by the 9th Annual Power of One Leadership Conference. Absolutely coming up October 22nd here in Atlanta, Georgia, and right in your home. It's going to be a hybrid conference this year. So if you're here in Georgia, if you're ready to travel, you can come here to Georgia, or we're streaming right to where you are. It's going to be amazing. And this conference this year, the theme is reset. So everybody that's a leader and part in life, when it's time to do some repositioning in life, yeah, that's what we're all coming together this year to do. And so if you know that's where you are in life, join us. Go get your tickets right now. Registration is open at www.iCreateLeadership.org. So go there to get more information, all right? But today's episode, our interview today, my conversation today, we entitled this The Power of Reset. Okay, this is part one. We're going to have a little series of this. And today I'm talking, my name is Jeff Ingram, by the way, and I'm talking with Bishop Dr. William Brown. And we're going to talk today a little bit about some tips, some secrets, some things. Anybody that's leading, launching, or growing a business or ministry, organization, or any kind of thing, anything, like, we're going to talk about some things you need to know that's going to help you along your path of success. Mainly focus on your personal growth and development, because that's really the secret to longevity in this, if you haven't figured that out yet. Your personal growth, continual, consistent growth. And so this brother, man, I've known him for years. What's been 5, 6, 7 years now, man. Our families, we went to church together, we fellowship together, we part of the same ministry fellowship. And this brother, man, I've always looked up to the great work he's been doing, and we're gonna find out. You'll understand. He have a very, very special knack at leading people and making an impact in the world. So I'm excited to have Bishop Dr. William Brown. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, man? How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, we great, man. It's great. I'm excited to have you here. Thank you for accepting the invitation, man.
Oh, appreciate it. I thank you for the invite, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So how you been? How's your family doing? Our families know each other. How's everybody doing, man?
Everybody doing well, just maintaining and staying encouraged and just working through all of everything that life throws at you. And without making an excuse, you gotta make a way. You gotta do it. You gotta maneuver through it, so we good.
That's great, man. That's great to hear, man. That's great. So today, I want to hop right in our conversation and just to chat. I said, man, we have these interviews, man. It's leaders chatting, talking about things that leaders understand, they know and feel, and give people opportunity to kind of be a fly on the wall to see how some other people handle, like you said. Hey, it just comes. Like life is this is not no straight up like this. Things come in all different angles there. The type of leader you are a great example of somebody that handles it well.
Yeah, I try, man. I haven't perfected it, but I think I got a good handle on certain things, with ministry and, personal life. And I've been able to find a way to balance it. Earlier I had to with, so many things on my plate.
Yeah.
And sometimes life forces you to the balance. And so I haven't perfected it, but I've worked hard at accepting and making sure that I keep a great balance.
Absolutely. That's that word right there, balance. That's like a magic word. especially when you're a leader. If you can find that and keep it and maintain it, the closest you could get to it, then you working with something. But
Absolutely, yeah.
absolutely, man. So talk about this. Talk to us a little bit about those that don't know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, your background, your education experience, expertise. Like what do you do, man?
Well, my name is William Brown. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida,
Okay, okay.
and go Gators.
All right,
And,
Florida, yeah.
and so, I came to Atlanta around 2001. Came here and I've been here ever since. I came here and then I ended up leaving in 2002 around midsummer and end up coming back around the year early part of 2003-ish, somewhere around there. And then I stayed permanently
Okay.
here, and then I've just been here ever since. I pastor a great congregation, the best that's been established. The name of the ministry is Believers of One Messiah, or many know it as Boom Church.
Really,
And
Boom. Shout
so,
out to Boom.
yeah, man. So, been pastoring and being as well as overseeing other established congregations, and so I've been in ministry. As a kid who grew up, I'm about a fourth or fifth generation pastor, and
Okay.
so started out Baptist, and I transitioned into Pentecostal or Kojic, and then I went Apostolic Prophetic, and then now our congregation is a Messianic Hebrew congregation that has the DNA of Apostolic and Prophetic. So,
Hmm.
that's kind of our niche and our edge, and it's open to all people, and it's all about the gospel and maintaining that over identity. But we embrace our culture identity, and it's worked for us. We try to be what we're called to and not like anybody else.
Okay, that's true. That's great. And so I've been around the Boom. Matter of fact, it's nicknamed the Boom Effect is very real.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And talk a little bit about Boom. Like Boom is probably not what people think Boom is. So talk a little bit about Boom. Yeah, the Boom Effect. How's that, man?
Yeah. So Boom is it started in 2018. Our first congregation was planted in Jacksonville, Florida, which is my hometown. And then around 2000 and late 2018, 2019 is when Atlanta was established. And so we were running two congregations at the same time, Atlanta and Jacksonville. Mind you, I mean, it wasn't a thought about pastoring a church. I was, we were a part of the same church, and I was doing evangelism work,
Right.
that was something that I had a love for, evangelism and music, as a gospel rapper.
We're gonna talk about music too. We gotta talk about that.
Yeah, so I had a love for all of that, and it kind of started just kind of getting into not only evangelism, but apologetics as well. So I wasn't, again, for a fact that wasn't, people say that they, weren't trying to looking for a church, but some people really were. But I wasn't pastor. I wasn't thinking about that. I just wanted to be faithful to the church that me and you were a part of, and that was it. And just start getting the opportunities to be able to preach. But I learned so much through that process, and learned so much, pastoring a congregation and things like that. So Boom is kind of it's when people hear Hebrew or Israelite or something like that, the first thing that comes with it is a negative tone, per se. If you use the term Jew or Jewish, it's a positive term to people, but when you hear that that term or whatnot of Israelite or Hebrew or whatnot, it becomes negative. But we, for us, it's an experience. And when people experience being around the congregation, being around us as a ministry, then that mindset and mentality seems to change.
Oh yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
for us, it's just really about doing what the Lord say. We love our culture, we love our heritage and identity, but we understand that that's not a guaranteed ticket into the kingdom. So, but it's a place for people that want to come and want to get the cultural aspect, but also be able to still have the spirit as well. And so that's kind of where we are, and that's Boom.
Absolutely. And so if anyone's interested in knowing more about Boom or getting the Boom, feeling the Boom effect, it's multiple locations. People can check y'all out, right?
Yeah, we have multiple locations. We've been growing. I mean, it's amazing. We're coming up on our 5th year, and we have about
Congratulations too, by the way.
yeah, it'll be 5 years in February and of 2023, and we've grown to about 6 or 7 congregations. Some were already established and just came a part of the family that I'm the overseer of, and others we planted. And so it's just a blessing, and we just continue to do what we're called to do, and have fun while learning. I tell them all, we're gonna learn, we're gonna have fun, but we're gonna learn something, and we're gonna shout too.
Right.
Worship too. So yeah.
Right. That's what's up, man. And that's it's amazing. That's one thing. The history I had in with Hebrews and Israelites, the spirit, the energy, like you say, it's kind of come off as a negative. I understand it, but it come off very kind of abrasive, kind of negative. But the culture that y'all have is not that at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very, very, very counter that.
It shouldn't be rare. We aren't the only one. There's others out here as well.
Okay.
But negative always get the greater press.
Yeah.
So we just try to set things out, but it should be normal. I mean, this is the normative of when you read the scriptures of what a spirit-filled Hebrew looks like. It's just the normative, in scripture. But in our day and age, it's not normal, it's abnormal. But the Lord has a way. So for anybody that wants to get, embrace that, he always has he makes sure you have no excuses. I'll just say that.
Right.
Right.
Right. Opportunities come your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's a great background. And then about the music. Talking about music. Like I told y'all, he have multiple hats. He's actually a recording artist, actually a very dope piece. Spits bars, like real life bars as well.
Yeah, man. The music was something that I got into first before anything. Just when I was in Florida, I did what the term is secular music. And then I came to Atlanta, for that achievement, that goal, trying to, get a deal and things like that. And I was introduced to what is known as, I guess, gospel rap, holy hip hop. At the time, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is that? Like, how does that work? Like, how does gospel and rap work? Like that, I didn't have any references,
Yeah.
But it was an opportunity. He was like, hey man, my cousin, they're having an event at the church and stuff like that. And, would you, man, you should try doing a gospel song, like gospel. I'm like, gospel rap? Like I'm at his studio, recording, and the music I was recording wasn't nowhere near nothing about no gospel, I'm talking all kind of stuff, but for him, and I say, man, let me just do this. I grew, of course, you grow up in the church, so you kind of understand, but I didn't even know that they even allowed rap in churches.
They didn't.
Like, what? Like, so he was like, yeah, man, this, so there was a program, and I wrote one song. And so it happened that they was having a youth event. So I said, okay, I'll do it for the kids. Did it for the kids, and they loved it. And then there was another event, even though the way I did it, it wasn't what you would hear gospel rap, I guess, at the
Right.
time.
Mhm.
But it was much more skilled and all that
Absolutely.
in that way.
Lyrical, very lyrical.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't use a lot of scripture. Of course, I wasn't, in the Bible, or anything like that, but I just use what I know,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and so I would perform that song with other songs at festivals in Atlanta and stuff like that and
Mm.
events. And I kept noticing that the people I would do that song last,
Mm.
and I would notice that the people loved it. Like I'm talking about even some of the street dudes, and others they loved it because I guess it may have kind of given them some uh a hip hop cultural feel of Tupac or some type of record along those lines.
Right. Right.
They loved it, and I was like, man, this is so. Just from that one song, it just continued, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna do a couple of more songs like that. Still, at the time when that was happening,
Mhm.
Goody Mob was out, Outkast, and Goody Mob had a much more of a conscious
Uh-huh.
type, feel and to their music, and they talked about political things, and so I
Right.
knew that I could do that,
Right.
type. So I kind of patterned minds kind of along those lines, uh,
Okay. Okay.
and then it just went from there. And as time passed, one day I found the love for um just wanting to get in the Bible, and that kind of opened up the door for me to get into going to church, because
Hmm.
I was attending a church here in Atlanta,
Hmm.
um, and so I was one of my uncles who passed, who kind of introduced me and gave me some knowledge of some things. He was a Baptist preacher here in Atlanta, and so he had left Jacksonville when he was a teen, and he was 50 something years old when I came to Atlanta, maybe 60.
Uh-huh.
So he had been in Atlanta for forever, since his teens. But he was a pastor at a Baptist church, and that was the only church that I kind of knew, and so I ended up coming there, and it got me, into more into word and
Hmm.
being involved in church. So that music that I made brought me. It was a part of the path to get me
Process.
back into, or get me into the church. I wouldn't say back, because I was at the time just growing up as a kid. You go because you was, told to go and
Exactly.
like that. But it brought me into the church, and so from that point, it just was a trickle effect.
Mhm.
Then I got to the point where I was like, and I think I'm gonna take this serious, and then I told my uncle, I was like, I think I'm called to preach.
Hmm.
And when I told him that, he looked at me like, boy, please, boy, stop. Boy, stop. And he was like, oh, yeah. Oh, you think oh, yeah. I said, yeah. He say, all right, then, okay. I tell you what, and that during that time, they had what was called catechisms.
Okay.
They kind of still do them now in some denominations, but it was called catechism, where you go before, it's almost like a board,
Hmm.
especially in the Baptist church. You go before a panel of pastors and reverends, and these guys, man, they all of them had gray hair. They were elders,
Right.
and they grilled you on doctrine. Just,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sitting here like, man, they asking me all kind of questions, and so I guess I did a good enough with what I had to say, okay, we'll give you an opportunity to preach, which was called a trial sermon.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so before you can even get the trial sermon, you had to get approved by, a panel. Sometimes it was 8, 9, preachers that pastor their own churches, you know.
Right.
Um, and so they like, okay, yeah, okay. Well, they all nodded, yeah. And then I got my trial sermon and was able to do it, and they was like, okay, well, then they took me through the process of learning,
Hmm.
and things like that. But that's pretty much how the music brought me into, kind of, it was the lane where I'm now. And then once I got once I matured even more in it,
Right.
the music even, I mean, I thought I was already here, but the music just elevated, man, to another level.
Yeah, man. That's and when I met you, I forgot what album it was. I remember I heard it, and I'm like, what this dude spits like lyrics. Like I grew up in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? So, them lyrical rappers, that's what I would listen to. And
Yeah.
you talk about gospel rap, or like as a kid growing up, like I was like embarrassed to even be listening to that. And I'm like, man, it don't even compare, And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
as time has developed to have people that have that kind of skill come into that space, and where the industry is, or space is, let's put it like that, like it's huge now. And so you have a lot of you use your creativity in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I could definitely tell, and like I said, I appreciate it, and it gives you a very interesting perspective on life. Matter of fact, as we talking about personal growth and development, you kind of talked about how kind of a little bit of your journey, and kind of how you've been evolving into the version of who you are now.
Yeah.
And so to that point, like what is anything, like what is like one tip or something that was shared with you that you wish, like if you were starting out over again, what's something that you would wish somebody would have told you that they didn't tell you, or that would have clicked that didn't click?
Everything. I had this journey for me was a learning experience, and that's why I try to pour so much into our leaders. That's a part of Boom, is because I've always said, if I had somebody to mentor me, I didn't have someone to mentor me coming up. A lot of things I had to learn. I had to go through the rejection.
Yeah.
That's what made me stronger, taking music and going to the barbershops, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and getting rejected, because once my buddy left and he was my producer. So once he left and went back to Arkansas, I didn't have any other producer, or they were too expensive. Studio was too expensive. So what I did was I said, man, I got sounds in my head. I just can't sit back and not do anything. So
Yeah.
I went and invested in myself. I took out a loan, and went and purchased my own studio equipment and put it in my basement, and wrote did my stuff. Even though it wasn't, as a producer now, I'm not the same person. I would, you learn, and
Yeah.
so I took it to the barbershop, man, and it was like, man, and one thing I love about the streets, they're brutally honest.
Yes, sir.
And it was like, man, nah, man, if you don't get that out of here, you know what I'm saying? They would like, nah, man, that's the whack, man. No, nah. And I remember coming home, my wife, one day, man, it was literally, that was the first time that whole day, I went from barbershop to barbershop, and I realized I came home, man, I was so mad. You ever be to the point where you're so mad that you cry?
Yes.
You got tears in your eyes. Like it's not crying because you soft, it's you mad.
Hey, yeah, like.
And my wife, she was encouraging, but she was like, hey, you either gonna, get better, you're gonna take this as a learning experience, or you gonna give up, you're gonna quit. And from there, I just kept at it, and the production got better, the music got better. I would run all my music by her before I went out, right?
Okay.
And it got to the point to where I didn't have to run it by her no more. I knew it was hot. I was like, and then one day she was like, "Oh, you don't even run your music by me no more." You know, that type of thing. And so it kind of grew from there. And then I end up, my cousin invited me to a service. She was like, I know you don't, I know you don't do the church thing like that, but I want you to come to this service with me. It's gonna be in Fayetteville. I lived in Riverdale at the time, so it's gonna be in Fayetteville. It's a little church, some white people. And I'm like, hold on now, some white man. I look now. Wait a minute. So I grew up in a black church.
Right.
I ain't grew up in a white. She's talking about white church. I'm like, man. She's like, yeah. She's like, oh, there's some black people there. I'm like, okay, all right. We get to the church. Me, my wife, and our son, and her, Pastor Tim at the time, who I didn't know, who I had met, and his wife. We the only black people in the church. You're like, it's some black people in the church. I'm like, we the only black people in the church. This is in Fayetteville. This wasn't that CDM. This is at another church. And I'm saying, like, man, so I was like, yo, I'm not sitting in no front. I'm not sitting in no middle. When we got there, I told my wife, I grabbed her hand. We sitting in the back. We in the back on the wall, like way to the back. It's in a basement. It's like in a basement type setup. And we in the back. And I'm sitting there, man. And Prophet Frazier, he up there, he's the guest speaker. And so I didn't know him. We didn't know him. That was our first time ever, coming across. He's like, the couple in the back, can you come up into the front? Like, this dude trying to single us out because we black.
Wow.
Come up there to the front, and then he was like, yo, he started talking, he said, yo, music. And I'm like, I paused.
Wow.
Because I'm like, there's no way that this dude know about that.
Right.
My cousin don't even know him.
Oh, wow.
See what I'm saying? My cousin don't know him. My cousin got invited by one of her white friends.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we went there. He just started talking about all that, how he just gave a rundown.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm glad this is
Shout out to Prophet Frazier. Shout out to Pastor Frazier.
Yeah, he's like, I'm glad this is on tape. And then he started talking about stuff. Some of the stuff that he talked, that was like around 2000. That might have been like 2005.
Wow.
And stuff that he said in 2005, back then, started manifesting like 2020.
Wow.
Like this stuff like 15, 16 years ago, just going right before it started manifesting. It was crazy, man.
Wow.
It was crazy. And what happened was, I was, of course, I was over there at the Baptist church. I did my trial sermon. I became the associate pastor of the Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt the need because they didn't like rap music.
I bet.
At the Baptist church.
I know.
They were traditional Baptists. It was all hymns. They wasn't no women teaching, none of that stuff. It was just
old school.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I do with this? I got this talent. I got this gift, like, what do I? And so I told him, I was like, hey, man, my time is up. I got to think about some things. And so one day, we end up leaving. I would visit every now and then, but my associate pastorship, I gave it up. Mm-hmm. And so one day we was at home and I was just in the basement, just working on music. Mm-hmm. And I had the tape from Prophet Frazier. Mm-hmm. I had the tape. And so I was looking for some stuff like on my studio, my engineer table. And the tape, and I moved some papers because I would write lyrics. I had paper everywhere, just lyric songs.
Like my desk.
Paper all over the desk. And so I was looking for something to, and I moved the paper and I saw the tape that had his name. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the tape, I popped in the tape, and I listened again. And I told my wife, I said, we got to find this guy. Wow. We got to find him. We got to find where he at. And so what happened was that particular church, I ended up going by that church. And I asked, I said, hey, the guest speaker y'all had there, do you know where he is? You know what? Like, well, maybe I can get in contact with him. So they was like, yeah, he's a senior pastor at Christ Discipleship Ministries in Fairburn. I'm like, where Fairburn? Where's that? And so they gave me the name of the church. So I went on Google. I Googled. And when I Googled, the church address came up and the website. It was just, and I saw Dr. Carolyn on there. I'm like, that ain't the guy.
That's not him.
Like, what is going on with this? You know, so I was like, okay. So I ended up going through, I called, and Minister Pam, she asked, I was like, is there a guy named Pastor Frazier? Is he a part of this church? She's like, yeah. And so I end up leaving my number, and he called me back. We talked, you know, reminding him who I was. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come by. And like a month and a half went by, and then we just popped up one Sunday. And when I popped up that Sunday, he was like, yeah, you know, this guy, you know, he's awesome. I want him to come rap for us. And I'm like, and I'm saying, like, this church mostly white too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The time CDM, I'm like, man, and these are conservative, you know, white people, brothers and sisters in the body of Christ. And I'm like, man, I got up there. They had never had rap at the church.
Wow.
I was the first one to rap in the church. And when I got out, they you know how they were just like clapping their hand, but they were just looking. And I'm like, man, what in the world? I ain't never doing this again, man. I ain't never doing it. And after time went on, they started adapting. You know, we joined there. They started adapting. They was like, we didn't like rap music until you came.
Wow.
And we can hear every word, you know, that. But the key was they saw that I wasn't dedicated to being just an artist. They saw that I was dedicated to the ministry.
Right.
And that became more bigger than everything. But I just want to share that story.
Yeah.
We talked about music and how you know how music was used to bring me to where I'm at right now.
Yeah. No, that's amazing story. I never knew that story. And even still, as we're talking about this development and how things line up, like, and how our journeys, I consider it like we on a quest, man. This is a long time thing we on, especially us that are like, there's some people that kind of dip their toe, like a situation happens where they kind of get a taste of kind of being in some position of leadership, whether it be maybe at work or maybe they get to head a project or something at church or something. But those people that get a taste of that, or that's just driven, like, I know it's something I'm supposed to be building, it's never a short thing. It's a long-term thing, longer than we ever expected to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it kind of finds you, and in ways like you're saying, like in ways you never even thought that it could be. But I love, like, your story, how the development and your creativity and all of the gifts, all of them come all together in this bundle where that's how you've been doing what you're doing. So I think it's great and perfect, because that's something we talk about. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no, the music, the evangelism, the apologetics, the study, all of that mentality, you know, all of that, even just, you know, the urban, you know, community that I grew up in Florida, you know, just coming from a family that's you know, heavy into you know, not doing right. You know, all of that plays
that life.
Right. All of that plays a role in what shapes and cultivates Boom as a ministry.
Right.
And so all of that, you know, is a part of the whole package, and as well as myself. So you have to be dedicated. You know, this is something that people give up. When you call to something, it's not something that you do, it's part-time. It becomes a part of your life. And it's important that you have to not only have the commitment, but the balance to what you're doing, because especially for someone who has a family, when you have a family and you working full time and you got all these things, but you still have your goals and dreams and things that you know that you're called to do, there's no room for excuses at any level.
Right.
And so, but you have to find a way to balance it, which means that there's no time to waste. So people can't waste your time. You know, you can't waste your time doing things that aren't going to be productive to the call or to the vision. So all of these things have to play a role in order for you to become successful at that. And it requires 100%, especially if you're a believer in Christ. It requires you still to give him 100% of it. So there's no excuse to study. There's no excuse not to pray. There's no excuse not to fast. Meanwhile, you have this vision and this goal of marketplace ministry or to something to that degree, or business in which you're going to be dealing, doing business with all types of people. You still have to be able to balance all of that and family. And if you work a full-time job, and you got to find a place for yourself, and you have to find a place to be a husband, because being a provider for the family in its totality is still not, you still can neglect your wife and not giving her the time. So all of this stuff, it takes balance. And some people kind of get upset, like, oh, well, some people think, oh, they feel like you changed, or no, I've become more structured because I just don't have time for certain things. I got to find time to sleep, which 4 or 5 hours for me, that's gold.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then especially you're still in the process of having children. This stuff, it's your life. It's only 24 hours in a day. So you don't have the time. Every second, every minute count, and you can't waste it if you're trying to be successful.
That's real. That's real. That's real. Matter of fact, what are some tricks, some things that you have learned along the way that help you keep everything balanced?
For me, everything that has helped me through the process of being successful to this point, which this is just the start of being successful. It hasn't arrived to what it is to become. But it's encouraging to see the progress, because so many people like, yo, man, I've been in ministry 20 years and I got one church. You've been in ministry, your first 2 years, you got 3 churches. And you didn't have, it wasn't where that I was a part of a big community, some big fellowship, or, somebody that had a big name to co-sign me, or I didn't come through, some big church and all that. No, these things are built from the ground up. And, when at the conference, I'll be getting more into how these things at October 22nd, I got that date right?
Absolutely.
October 22nd is the conference. So make sure you go out there and register if you have not registered. And
absolutely. He is going to be one of the speakers. Absolutely.
I will be one of the speakers out there. So just definitely go ahead and get your ticket right now. ASAP.
Absolutely. Yes.
But, for me, what has really, truly, tremendously helped me in so many ways, in my personal ministry, as well as Boom as an entire ministry, is the fact that I cherished relationships. I've never damaged a relationship that I've had. Even there's times that I got upset, but I've learned as a man and as a brother and as a believer in Christ to make it right. Because we all have those issues. We all gonna get upset, things like that. But I've never had a situation where it was just detrimental, where the bridge blowed up. I couldn't go back across it. I couldn't deal with the person anymore. No, every relationship, every pastor that I sat under, every job that I was a part of, every manager that I viewed, every last one of these people, every brother that I had that I was brothers within in every church that I was a part of. Till this day, I can call on the phone, we can have a conversation, and it's all good.
Right.
I've always viewed every person I came in contact with as a charitable relationship. So therefore, when you do, you never know that each person that you've met may be someone that comes into a realm of success, or maybe come into a place where you have something of value that can benefit the mission of what they're trying to do. And if the relationship is tarnished, then they're gonna be like, you know what, man, I would love to use them, but I can't deal with him. You know, I can't handle his attitude or this, that, and the third. I can't stress this enough. I've gotten phone calls from people that I hadn't talked to in 2 to 3 years. Call me up. Hey man, what you doing? Oh man, I'm good. Hey, I need you to come speak at this conference. I ain't talked to him in 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you know, but when you have charitable relationships and you cherish a relationship, not from the perspective of you trying to get something, but understand that that relationship is valuable on both sides.
That's real.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing that really has helped me. That's what I would want to share. That's a tip that I would love to, that I would stress to anybody. Cherish your relationships, man.
I love it. Cherish relationship. And it's funny, you and we have a relationship. We got an interesting relationship. But we have a relationship. And I think that it's even to the point where we work together like we do. We know each other for years. We worked at the same ministry, or been at the same ministry together, and all things. But who knew? I didn't know that this day. I didn't know that we would be having a 9th Power of One conference. I didn't know that was going to be in this theme, in this space, and that I would have to come ask you about it, because it just dropped in me like, you know what, this year? Because matter of fact, we've been a part of the conference before.
It was on a small scale, but it was great because I was able to be on a panel with some great people, and it was the first time that I had really spoke at or been a part of something like that. So
really?
that was a door opener for me, and it was a blessing to me as well, just to be able to be on that small panel. So thank you for that opportunity.
Oh, bro, no problem. I didn't even know it, and even your presence there and your angle is very key. I believe like that proverb, it take a village to raise a child, is bigger than children. Like, it take a village to survive. Everybody needs a community to survive. There's something that everyone brings. And so to come back around again, hey man, I just felt like this year, for what I seen you've been doing and where we are with this, and what's been in my heart and my soul for the people that's going to be there, that, you know what, there's something you can bring to the table, and to be able to call like, hey, we looking for people, man. I think you'll be perfect for it, and to have that relationship so that this day could come and the people that are going to be there can get what God have for them, is a perfect example of what you just said, man.
Yeah, I think that people also too have to realize that it's nothing wrong with having good business etiquette, good business practice. I learned something tremendous from Bishop Von McLaughlin, who is the pastor at the Potter's House in Jacksonville. I was attended an Apostles and Prophet conference, and man, it was so powerful. He said, it doesn't take you to be religious to do business. It takes you to have ethics to do business, because majority of the people that you're going to do business with may not even believe the same thing that you believe. So it doesn't require, and there's some people who do say that they believe in Christ, they have poor business ethics.
Man,
and people who are atheists that have great business ethics. That was awesome, man. It was powerful. Just that small statement of that. Most people don't think of it, because most people are like, I'm not doing business with a non-believer, but it's business.
Yeah.
It's business. It's a difference in ministry.
Yeah.
business.
That's right.
Doing a business, you need a loan from the bank. You don't go ask them what they doctrinal, beliefs are. You don't ask for a mission statement.
Right.
You go to the bank. The guy
Right.
that you praying that the Father will move upon the man heart. That man might be an atheist. He might be a Buddhist. Yeah, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But you need what you need.
Exactly.
So people have to really understand that there's a separation with that. You need to understand business and you need to understand ministry. And I think what you're doing is a great thing, a great setup to bring the two words together so people can get an understanding, because there's people out here who are entrepreneurs and everything else, and they need that help. And then also, as a believer, you should have some level of success in business. You shouldn't want to work for someone all your life.
Right. Right.
You should have something that's aside of just ministry. Well, brother, what you do? I'm full-time in ministry. So you have no business, like there's nothing you trying to pursue at all. Like you just want to eat off the people. Like,
right.
I think that, and everybody may not have that mentality, but I think it's good what you're doing, man. And I'm glad to be a part of it and help out.
Hey, man, it's an honor to have you. And as you're saying, like, that's something I think that a lot of people overlook. When I look at anything, I look at the whole picture, right? And a part of everybody have to make a living some kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some kind of way, right? And so to neglect any area of intentional investment in development, whether it be spiritually, whether it be in your physical health, but your professional, whatever kind of career, even if you're not necessarily the owner of a business or entrepreneur, someone's hiring you to help them do that, right? Or you may be called somewhere in ministry to where you work. And I've worked in a salary capacity in ministry. There's a professional, there's business, there's specific skill set that's necessary to do anything. Matter of fact, any art, any kind of craft or anything, there's a level of proficiency. And there's always the best of it, no matter if you work at the Waffle House, there's the best of the best that cook. And then there's the ones like, man, look. And so it's important to intentionally invest in that. And so we're gonna have a great time. I'm excited about what I'm gonna learn. I think that's another thing. I do it so that I can get around people that are smarter than me, have done some things, and I can learn and grow and level up as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a leader. And it's gonna be fun this year. This is year number 9. Everybody don't make it to year number 9.
Yeah, they don't, man. That's definitely a great thing. And even right now, man, within ministry, most people, they don't make it. They don't make it past the first year.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And whatnot, or make it past the second year, and to be going the way it is a blessing. Hey, Brother Jeff, I think what you probably want to do is too, on your video, you have it set for friends of friends. So if you may want to turn it to everyone. And so if you do that, if I share it, even people that aren't friends with you will be able to see it.
I'm about to do it right now too.
If you keep it friends of friends, they won't be able to see
it. It's public right now.
Yeah.
Good point. I'll see what happens when you do it live. We're doing it live. Oh yeah, you can do it to share now.
Yeah, it should be good now.
Okay. And so while you're sharing it, as we wrap this up, man, what would you say? What would one thing if you had to drop one nugget, right? Anything that we haven't talked about, but for somebody who's on their quest, whatever capacity they're supposed to be leading in, as we talked about, we both husbands. You're a husband, a father, a businessman, a pastor, a leader, a congregation of congregations, like all of things. Any last things, man, that you want to say to somebody that's kind of stuck, that maybe run into a situation they can't quite overcome, especially when it comes to personal development? Like how do they turn on the switch, or anything that you want to leave before we go, man?
Yeah, man, I would tell everyone out there, no matter what field you're in, whether you're a Christian or Hebrew or atheist or whatnot, I would just say, whatever you feel that you're called to, man, of course the dedication is there, but you have to do as much research as possible. Learn the area before you just jump out there. Don't try to learn on the fly. It's too much information. Now we're Brother Jeff, now we're in an age where the internet has so much access to things. Now we're willfully ignorant. It's just because you just don't want to put in the work. You don't want to put in the
That's
time,
real.
and you want somebody else to give it to you. But I would tell people, hey, do as much research as possible on what you deem that you're called to. So whatever area that is, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's ministry, no matter what it is, it requires you to do the research possible to be able to go and maximize in your field. There's some things you just can't help but learn on the job training, but I believe that at least 80% of the success is the knowledge, and the other 20% is the work ethic. But even at that 20%, it still requires you to be 100% of the 20%. You got to work at it. You got to really, really work. And people gonna shut doors in your face. People gonna say no. Now, I want to keep a balance here, because some people, you want to be called to something, but you're just not called to it. So you have to just,
yes.
you got. I got to keep balance.
Yeah.
And you could continue to drive it, but within your heart that you just can't you can't cut it. There's not it. Maybe you can. There's something else for you out here. Everybody is not going to be the one that establishes and starts something. We need, within those who establish and start things, they need people that are settlers, people that come in and manage what's being built. And it's nothing wrong with that. There's some great people and successful people that are managers. That manage businesses like it's theirs, and they love it. Those who are putting in time to build, it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice. But people have lost a lot of things, finances, family, everything, trying to, build something. But I would say that lastly, just to encourage everyone else. And once again, October 22nd, go ahead and get your tickets. Come out. I will be there. It's going to be a house packed with Christians, non-Christians, whatever, business owners, ministry folks, entrepreneurs, everyone. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be able to speak to everybody there. It's a great opportunity, and I'm thankful for it, man. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, my brother Bishop, Dr. William Brown, for this great conversation. Now, can you tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can connect with Boom? Like, how can they do that?
Yeah, we are definitely in the process of also launching mentorship. If you are a pastor and you want to, get into, planning a congregation, or if you already a pastor, you want to get into how do I, plant multiple congregations, or hey, I just want to be able to grab information, or hey, I believe that I'm, a Hebrew or whatnot. I'm just, I want to be able to have the balance. You can reach out to me. You can hit us up at Boom Church. I is in Indiana, N as in Nancy, T as in Tom.org. That's Boom Church International.org. You can hit us up there. And you can send me an email as well at bishopbrown@boomchurchint.org. You can also, I'm friends with Brother Jeff here on Facebook, so you can send me a friend request and inbox me. You can also search us on YouTube, youtube.com/Boom Church on YouTube. I'm sorry, youtube.com/It's Majors one. It's majors and the number one. And then also lastly, you can also follow me on Facebook on my facebook.com/Bishop Dr. Dr. That's Dr. is Dr. Brown, Bishop Dr. Brown on Facebook. And that's it.
All right. Well, now y'all have his information. Go check him out. Go support him. You want to listen if you like I say, if you like hip hop, as he dropped in there, it's conscious, it's gospel. It's like a mixture of all them things. But I said, dude, be spitting. He spits for real. But also, you want to connect with a community. You want to learn. You want to grow. Definitely reach out. Definitely connect with him, man. This is a good dude. Like I said, I'm honored to know him. Call him a brother, and he's going to be in the building on October 22nd. You need to be there. If you can't be there physically, you could go ahead and get a virtual ticket, and you can still be in the room. Right? But trust me, if you're trying to grow, if you're serious about, because some people are trying to and they just say with their mouth, but this is we pull this together for those of us that are really like serious about it. Like the anchor, like the ships are burnt. There's no going back. This is what we're doing. And we know we got to connect and grow with. We have to connect with some other people. We have to grow. We have to get away. We have to bring our team. Also, if you have a team, bring your team. Do not just come by yourself and then come back and think that they're going to be as excited on fire as you are because you were there. They're not in the room. So bring them. We made it affordable so that a whole team can come, your whole organization, your whole life can be transformed. So definitely join us. I want to thank again Bishop Dr. William Brown. Thank you, all you leaders, reality creators out there. Thank you all for staying and doing what you sit here to do. And this is Jeff Ingram on behalf of iCreate, the Power of One Academy, the Power of One podcast. I love y'all. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.